How did a player no one even heard of last year become the spearhead of Pep Guardiola's new midfield revolution? Tijjani Reijnders did through consistency in an inconsistent AC Milan side. When AC Milan handed him the keys to their midfield, something clicked. He didn't just fit in, he took over. Long-range screamers, line-breaking passes, a non-stop motor that ran every big game.
La mette in mezzo, Tijjani Reijnders, il 3-1 del Milan, un'azione meravigliosa, Tijjani Reijnders.
And now, after a stunning season, the call has come to Manchester City. Find out why he's the answer to Pep Guardiola's midfield problems. Tijjani Reijnders wasn't born into stardom. He didn't blaze through youth ranks with viral clips or flashy stats. In fact, he was a late bloomer by modern football standards. Born in Zwolle in 1998, Reijnders began kicking a ball around local Dutch clubs with no real fanfare. His journey included stints at WVF and PEC Zwolle, then a few crucial years at FC Twente's academy. But it wasn't until he joined AZ Alkmaar in 2017 that something started to click. Even then, it wasn't immediate. Reijnders spent most of his early AZ days with their second team, Young AZ. A loan spell at RKC Walwick in 2019-2020 barely made headlines. But behind the scenes, he was quietly polishing his craft, developing tactical awareness, timing, and a work rate that few midfielders in his class were willing to match. At 23, just as most top-tier clubs begin turning away from late bloomers, Reijnders was turning into something different, a midfield metronome with the brains to dictate play and the engine to back it up. But it wasn't until he returned to AZ Alkmaar full-time that everything changed. What happened next? A tactical explosion that caught AC Milan scouts by surprise. Back at Alkmaar, Tijjani Reijnders finally found the system that fit him like a glove. Manager Pascal Jansen began deploying him in deeper midfield roles, just ahead of the defense, but with license to roam. That positioning allowed Reijnders to blend his intelligent movement with crisp passing, and, for the first time, his influence stretched across entire games. In the 2022-2023 Eredivisie season, Reijnders didn't just hold his own. He elevated AZ's midfield. He ended the campaign with 7 assists and 3 goals in the league, but those numbers didn't tell the full story. What impressed most was his composure under pressure, his ability to transition play, and the way he dictated tempo without ever looking rushed. In Europe, he truly stood out. During AZ's thrilling UEFA Europa Conference League run, Reijnders was the quiet conductor behind their semi-final surge. His performances against Lazio and Anderlecht turned heads. Calm on the ball, defensively aware, and deceptively progressive. He was no longer a hidden gem. And when the summer transfer window opened, one of Europe's most historic clubs came calling, ready to gamble on a player who needed a bigger platform to shine. When AC Milan secured Tijjani Reijnders in the summer of 2023, it wasn't with fanfare. There were no headlines screaming about a blockbuster signing, no extravagant unveilings. But for Milan's technical directors, the excitement was internal. They had just signed a player they believed could become the pivot of a new era. And it didn't take long for everyone else to realize just how right they were. Reijnders arrived into a side hungry for direction in midfield. The team needed a presence that could glue things together defensively, tactically, emotionally. That's exactly what Reijnders brought. With his fluid movement, intelligent positioning, and flawless first touch, he didn't need months to settle in. His very first league appearances showed it. Reijnders understood the Milan tempo like he'd been born in it. Paulo Fonseca quickly made him undroppable. He was fielded on the left of a 3-man midfield, granted license to shuttle between the defensive third and the final ball. And boy, did he deliver! He ran, carried, pressed, passed, and made it all look so effortless. Milan's ball progression stopped being vertical and erratic. It became measured and intelligent. You could trace nearly every meaningful attack back to Reijnders. Even when the stats didn't show it, the eye test did. In matches where Milan struggled, Reijnders was often the only bright spark, never hiding, always asking for the ball, never afraid to take on responsibility. He didn't rack up a ton of goals early on, but he constantly drove the play. What Milan had signed was not just a normal midfielder. They had a play initiator, a tempo setter, a midfield architect in disguise. And then came the turning point, the Champions League group stages. Against Club Brugge, he produced one of his first defining moments, dictating the match from deep, orchestrating both build-up and final third interplay, and then delivering the knockout blow with a late goal. When Milan's wingers struggled to get space, Reijnders stepped forward, played between the lines, and unlocked them. The press hailed it as a breakout European night. Inside the club, they knew this was just the beginning. The Serie A campaign only deepened the impact. He was central to Milan's dominance over mid-table opposition. Against Napoli, he completed over 100 passes with a 94% success rate. Against Lazio, he ran over 11 kilometers, registered 4 key passes, and assisted the winner. He didn't just show up in big matches, he defined them. Then came the Supercoppa Italiana. The Milan derby had become more than just a rivalry. It was a mental block. Inter had tormented them across recent seasons, but in that final, Reijnders was unshakable. He man-marked Barella out of the match, transitioned Milan from defense to attack without a hiccup, and launched the counterattack that led to the opening goal. Milan lifted the trophy, Reijnders lifted his profile. But the real masterclass came in the second half of the season. By January 2024, Reijnders had added goals to his game. He began to take more risks, late runs into the box, first-time strikes at the edge, chip balls behind the line. Against Roma, he scored a well-placed opener. In Milan's late-season charge, he was the consistent performer. When others rotated, he started. When others tired, he controlled. By April, Milan were pushing deep into the Coppa Italia, and Reijnders played a key role all the way to the final. Although they ultimately finished runners-up, he was once again one of the most composed players on the pitch, even under pressure, even when the rest of the team staggered. He closed out the 2024-2025 season with 54 appearances, 15 goals, and 5 assists across all competitions. But that was just the surface. Reijnders led Serie A in progressive carries with 111, completed 230 progressive passes, and delivered 99 long balls with a 70% success rate. He ranked in the top 3 among midfielders for chances created, averaging 1.58 key passes per 90 minutes. His engine never stopped, covering over 11.5 kilometers per match, while averaging nearly 2 ball recoveries per game. He was no longer just a standout in Milan, he was a standout in Europe. He was selected into Serie A Team of the Season while also being named Serie A Midfielder of the Season. He wasn't flashy, was level-headed on the pitch, and didn't have insane PR behind him. But ask the players around him. Reijnders was the first name on the team sheet. He gave structure, he gave Milan identity. And with performances that consistent, there was only one inevitable outcome. The Premier League came knocking. Not just any club, Manchester City. Pep Guardiola likes what he sees, a press-resistant controller with elite vision and versatility. Someone who can glide through tight spaces, dictate tempo, and switch roles seamlessly across a match. In a City system built on intelligence and rhythm, Reijnders fits like a glove. So, what now? Reijnders is about to enter a squad filled with world-class names, but he's not intimidated. He's coming to own the league. Will he conquer the Premier League next, or will the pressure crack the hype? Let us know in the comments and hit like if you're betting on Tijjani to rise even higher.